Hey, and welcome back to the British Accent Podcast. I'm Emily, and joining me as always is Nick.
Hi everyone. Lovely to be here again. Today's conversation's a bit tender, one of those topics that doesn't always have a clean answer.
Yeah, we're talking about closure. That word gets thrown around a lot, doesn't it? Like we're all supposed to get it at the end of something painful. A final conversation, a reason, an apology.
Exactly. As if someone owes us this perfect ending wrapped up with a bow, something neat and satisfying so we can move on. But life isn't usually that tidy.
No, it's not. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle. They wait for someone else to give them closure. To say I'm sorry, or here's why I hurt you, or here's what really happened. But sometimes, that moment never comes.
Or if it does, it doesn't fix the way you hoped. The truth is, closure isn't always external. Sometimes it's a quiet decision you make alone. A moment where you stop chasing answers and start choosing peace.
It's funny, isn't it? The word closure makes it sound like something someone gives you. But what if it's something you create instead?
Right. It's like saying to yourself, this hurt me. I may never fully understand why it happened the way it did. But I'm allowed to move forward anyway. That kind of self-given closure can be the most powerful of all.
It really can. And I think it's important to say, closure doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it just feels necessary. You let go, not because you've made peace with everything, but because holding on is starting to cost too much.
Yeah. It's not always about forgiveness either. You don't need to excuse someone's behavior to release yourself from the weight of it.
That's so true. Closure can look like deleting the number you kept, just in case. It can be walking away from a conversation that only ever goes in circles. Or it can be sitting quietly and saying to yourself, I didn't deserve that, and I'm not going to keep reliving it.
Yeah, and maybe the hardest part is accepting that you might never get the apology you're waiting for. You might never get the full story or the understanding you thought you needed. And yet, life still asks you to keep living.
It does. And you can. You can wake up tomorrow without that final chapter. You can move on even if the other person still doesn't see things the way you do. You can grow, even when it still hurts a bit. That's not weakness, that's healing.
And it's incredibly brave. Because choosing to give yourself closure means choosing to stop letting someone else's silence define your story. You take the pen back and say, this is where I turn the page.
I think there's a strange kind of freedom in that. It's subtle, not dramatic. It might not look like much on the outside. But it changes everything inside. You start showing up differently. You stop checking your phone waiting for something. You stop rehearsing what you'd say if they came back.
Exactly. You start living. Not in spite of the pain, but alongside it, with less bitterness, more softness. You're not stuck anymore. You're still healing, but you're no longer holding your breath.
And it's not about pretending it didn't matter. It mattered deeply. But so do you. And the way you care for yourself now, that matters just as much. Closure isn't forgetting. It's remembering without reopening the wound every time.
Yeah, that's it. It's learning to carry the experience without letting it carry you. You don't erase what happened, you just stop letting it define who you are becoming.
And if you're in that space right now, where it still feels unfinished, just know, it's okay to close the door even if they never knocked again. It's okay to walk forward, even if the past still echoes a little.
You don't need anyone else's permission to move on. You don't need their approval or their understanding to free yourself. Closure can be quiet. It can be just a deep breath and a gentle, I'm done carrying this now.
And you'll know you've started healing when the story no longer controls you, when it becomes a chapter you've read instead of one you're stuck in. That's when you realize you gave yourself what they never could.
Sometimes it's strange how long we keep waiting, hoping something or someone will come back and explain everything. Like maybe if they just said the right words, we'd finally be free from it all.
Yeah, like their words would untangle the knot inside your chest. But truthfully, even if they did come back, it might not fix anything. Because what we're really waiting for isn't their words, it's our own permission to let go.
Exactly. We convince ourselves we need them to make peace, but peace is something we build quietly, day by day, when we stop waiting for someone else to make it okay.
It's hard though, isn't it? Letting go without answers feels like you're dropping the puzzle before it's finished. But I think some puzzles were never meant to be solved. They were meant to be left incomplete, and that's where your strength comes in.
And I think that's where the real healing happens. When you stop needing a resolution from the outside and start giving yourself internal permission to move forward. You tell yourself, I don't know why it happened this way, but I'm still going to live fully.
That takes so much courage. To admit that something mattered, that it hurt, and still choose to grow beyond it. It's not denial, it's maturity. It's emotional independence.
And maybe the truth is, closure isn't about tying everything up with a neat little bow. It's about finding peace in the mess. Being okay with not knowing, and still choosing to love your life anyway.
Yes, and knowing that you can love someone, or miss them, or remember what you lost, and still move forward without betraying yourself. You're not being cold, you're just honoring your future more than your past.
It's like when you stop rewriting the past in your head, and instead start writing something new in the present. You're no longer stuck in the loop of what if, and if only. You just start living. Even if the past still lingers a bit, it doesn't control the whole narrative anymore.
And you don't have to pretend it didn't shape you. It did. But growth doesn't mean pretending you were never hurt. It just means the hurt isn't holding you hostage anymore. You learn to carry it more gently. Not like armor, more like a faded photograph. Still part of you, but no longer the whole picture.
That's such a good way of putting it. The photograph's still there, but it's no longer at the front of the album. You can flip past it without tearing up every time. You remember, but it doesn't crush you anymore.
And that's when you realize you've changed. Quietly. Not with a big moment or dramatic ending. Just slowly, patiently, on your own terms. You wake up one day and realize you didn't think about it for hours. You laughed without guilt. You felt light again.
That kind of healing is so underrated. People think closure comes in a conversation, a message, a final scene. But often it comes when you stop looking backward and start giving yourself permission to feel okay, even without resolution.
Yeah, and maybe the real gift is learning that you're allowed to keep going, even if no one else understands your process. You don't owe anyone your pain. You don't have to wait to be told it's okay to move forward.
Because sometimes closure is just a choice. A choice to stop giving the past the power to steal your present. A choice to stop needing every answer before you start healing. A choice to give yourself peace, instead of waiting for someone else to hand it to you.
And honestly, that's one of the most empowering shifts, when you stop waiting and start reclaiming your own story. Not rewriting it to erase what happened, but deciding what you want the next page to sound like. You're not just surviving anymore, you're shaping what comes next.
And you realize that healing isn't this grand breakthrough. Sometimes it's just making a cup of tea without crying. Walking past a place that used to hurt and not flinching. Smiling at a memory and not letting it wreck your whole day. It's those small things, quiet things.
Yeah, healing is subtle like that. It doesn't knock on your door and say, you're free now. It just sort of unfolds, gently. And it's usually only when you look back that you notice how far you've actually come.
And the power in all of that? It belongs to you. Not the person who left. Not the situation that ended. Not the words you never heard. Just you, choosing to give yourself something better than closure, a future.
A future that isn't defined by what hurt you, but by how deeply you chose to keep going. To open your heart again. To trust yourself again. And to believe that even without answers, your story is still whole.
And if that's where you are right now, somewhere between remembering and rebuilding, just know that's still progress. You don't have to have everything figured out. You don't need all the closure you thought you did. What matters is that you're still choosing yourself, quietly, one moment at a time.
Exactly. And maybe that's enough for today. Maybe that's always been enough. Wherever you are, we hope this reminded you that healing doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it's soft, slow, and deeply personal. And that's okay.
Thanks for being with us today on the British Accent Podcast. We'll be back soon with another conversation that feels like a cup of tea for the soul.
Take care of your heart. It's been through a lot, and it's still beating strong. See you next time.